which we stand. Blue for the mind that seeks the good and true. Red for a promise in the day. White for the glory of a heart that's pure. Bright with an ever-shining flame. Alma mater, we hail. Lord, give us and praise success. With truth and love will conquer all. For God our land and SFS. Alma mater, we hail. Lord, give us and praise success. With truth and love will conquer all. For God our land and SFS. With truth and love, let us unite and be true to our glorious college name. High on the hill, a vacant light is sheet, leading the children on to faith. March on to glory is a message made. Spread truth and love will far and wide. Loyal to the hands who raise of guidance, teacher and pupil side by side. Alma mater, we hail. God give us and praise success. With truth and love will conquer all. For God our land and SFS. Alma mater, we hail. God give us and praise success. With truth and love will conquer all. For God our land and SFS.
A very good morning to one and all, and a very happy Sunday to each one present here. On behalf of the management, Principal Dr. Kitty Thomas, the staff and students of St. Francis Desales College, Seminary Hills, Nagpur, I extend a warm welcome to each one gathered on this occasion on this online platform. And as we know, today we are celebrating the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty. Our college has been always in the forefront in addressing the needs of the society. And in this line, our college has thought it fit to host this online webinar and shed light on the key issues of poverty and how we all can, as global citizens, give our share in eradicating it. Let me briefly give you an introduction about SFS College. St. Francis Desales College, which is also known as SFS College, is a Christian minority institution managed by the Catholic Archdiocese of Nagpur, and its president is the Archbishop of Nagpur. Inspired by the teachings and love of Jesus Christ, the institution is concerned with providing a holistic development to the students, fostering self-reliance and confidence, enhanced by the qualities of keenness, cooperation, and fair-mindedness to become the incorruptible citizens of tomorrow. The college has been assessed and accredited with A grade with CGPA of 3.23 by the National Assessment and Accreditation Council, NAC, Bangalore. So, on behalf of this great institution, I extend a warm welcome to all of you. Now, let's come to know about the webinar itself. As we know that it is International Day for the Eradication of Poverty today, and it is held annually on 17th October to provide an opportunity to acknowledge the effort and struggle of people living in poverty, a chance for them to make their concerns heard, and a moment to recognize that poor people are the first ones to fight against poverty. Through Resolution 47 by 196, adopted on 22nd December 1992, the UN General Assembly declared 17 October as the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty and invited all states to devote the day to presenting and promoting, as appropriate in the national context, concrete activities with regard to the eradication of poverty and destitution. So, as I was going through some of the Twitter messages this morning, some of them which were trending were like this. There's one by the Secretary General of the UN himself. He says, for the first time in decades, extreme poverty is on the rise, and solidarity is missing in action just when we need it most. To end poverty, we need to listen far more to the people experiencing it, addressing indignities and dismantling barriers to inclusion. Maybe in that light, I would bring before you another tweet by World Bank Water. It says, the quest to end poverty has suffered its worst setback, largely due to COVID-19, conflict, and climate change. And to have further idea, further understanding about this International Day of Eradication of Poverty, we have amidst us distinguished person of Mr. Peter Lasrado. Let me present before you a brief introduction about Mr. Peter Lasrado. He is the manager, MDO, and CEI. He has 28 years of experience in the social development sector. He is a postgraduate in social sciences, social work, and his work experience includes project coordinator of St. Xavier's Social Service Society from 1996 to 1997, where he coordinated disaster response program, documentation and reporting on the progress. He was regional coordinator of IGSSS, that is Indo Global Social Service Society, from 1997 to 1999, and senior state coordinator of Madhya Pradesh from 1999 to 2007. He was program officer of Holistic Child Development India, HCDI, from 2007 to 2013, and program coordinator from 2014 to 2019. As program officer, he has discharged the responsibility of all the projects in 17 states, facilitated planning, monitoring, and implementation of projects, documentation, and reporting to the coordinator. Right now, at present, he is the program manager of Good Shepherd Mission Development Office based in Nagpur. He has assumed his office from in 2019, and is working there, managing all the social action ministry of the organization, planning, strategy building, fund mobilization, grant writing, etc. Some of his skills include he is excellent in program management, grant writing, monitoring and evaluation, capacity building. He is a great orator as well. So we are very happy to have Mr. Peter Lasrado amidst us. I welcome you, sir, on behalf of SFS College, and looking forward to listen to you and your inputs. Just a reminder to all the participants, kindly keep yourself unmuted all the time, as well as videos off, so that we can have a smooth running of this webinar that is scheduled today. And the feedback link will be given to you in chat boxes, both in Google Meet and YouTube at the end of the sessions. So do not ask for the feedback link as the session is going on. And one more reminder on announcement, uh, that you are free to post your queries in any chat box that you are in, that is Google Meet or YouTube Live. And let's have an entertaining session and engaging session with your questions and the answers by the resource person at the end. So I welcome you, sir, and I hand over the proceedings to you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Father Praveen. A very good morning to you all, those who are present. We are just 100 now. Maybe many are on the YouTube. I wish you all a very meaningful Poverty Eradication Day, International Poverty Eradication Day. Thank you, Father Praveen, for giving me this opportunity to present my views on this day, and also request all who are present here to make a commitment that we do our little best to eradicate poverty, at least in the place where we live. I will share a small presentation, and after the presentation, if anybody has any question, can ask. International Day of Poverty Eradication. There are poor people because they are made poor. What is poverty for us today? Someone said burning 100 calories for earning 50 calories. Burning 100 calories for earning 50 calories. Someone said lack of access to sufficient resources for living. And the government defines poverty can be defined as a condition in which an individual or household lacks the financial resources to afford a basic minimum standard of living. The last official estimate of poverty in 2011-12 was released by Planning Commission at 21.92% below poverty line. After that, no estimates have been officially released. SDG 2019 report by Niti Aayog also mentions 21.92%, adopted in 2011 as the official poverty line. It is interesting to know that global MPI, that is Multidimensional Poverty Index, reports in 2019 and 2020 show that India's poverty line for 2011 and 12 as 21.2%. Based on the World Bank's $1.90 poverty line for extreme poverty. In India, 27.20% per day is the criteria for BPL. Do you get a pizza out of that? Rupees 27.20 per day. That is the poverty line that is measured through. In the recent year, India emerged as the country with the highest rate of poverty reduction. In 2019, the Global Multidimensional Poverty Index reported that India lifted 271 million citizens out of poverty between 2006 and 2016. Contrast this with the situation in 2020. The highest global poverty increase happened in India. India is among the 4 countries to have halved their MPI value during the period from 2006 to 16. India had the biggest reduction in the number of multidimensionally poor people. 273 million of them moved out of this poverty in 10 years' time. The MPI is a measure, all of you know. And what are the three main indicators that are given to us? One is education, where years of schooling and child enrollment comes into effect, which has the schooling has got 1 out of 6 weightage and enrollment has got 2 out of 6 weightage. Health, the child mortality and nutrition comes into this, that is 1 out of 6 weightage for child mortality and 2 out of 6 for nutrition. Standard of living includes electricity, flooring, drinking water, sanitation, cooking fuel, and assets. India has not counted its poor since 2011, but the United Nations estimated the number of poor in the country to be 364 million in 2019, or 28% of the population. All the estimated new poor due to the pandemic is in addition to this. After 45 years, the world's fastest poverty reducing country adds the maximum poor in a year. It's a report from Down to Earth. The study, Azim Premji University conducted a study, State of Working India 2021, 1 year of COVID-19. Additional 230 million Indians fell below poverty line due to the pandemic. As per yesterday's news report, India is now 101st position, which was 94th in the last year. India has fallen behind the neighboring Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Nepal in multidimensional poverty index. The main causes cited for the poverty are, as we all know, population explosion. Throughout the past 45 years, India's population has grown at a rate of 2.2% per year, which means almost 70 million people are added to the country's population each year. Low agricultural productivity, fragmented land holdings, lack of capital, illiteracy about the latest technologies in farming, the application of the traditional methods of cultivation, the wastage during storage, etc., have led to low agricultural productivity. Inefficient source utilization, underemployment or not utilizing the required resources has also led to poverty. 70% of the poor depend on natural resources for livelihood, and the climate change has affected them badly. Therefore, climate change and poverty are closely interrelated. Do we all agree with this? Especially population explosion, low agricultural productivity, and inefficient source utilization. Let us try to understand what does poverty mean to us. Poverty is not something that exists somewhere out there and people are affected by it. It is not a virus like corona that attacks people, especially vulnerable people. It is not an imaginary notion either. It is real. It is not an easy thing that anybody can treat or eradicate. Then what is it and where is it? Let's try to see how you experienced it. Have you experienced it? Those who have experienced will know what is it. A mother will know when her child cries for food and she has no food to feed. A father will know it when he has to get up and search for the day's work, or else evening whole family will be hungry. You may have witnessed labor markets in big cities waiting for the work. How many of you have gone to bed without having a meal for not able to afford? Then I believe you have experienced poverty. How many have come across children fishing grain of rice in the bowl of rice water. That is the reality of poverty that we know. Poverty, in my opinion, is a consistent denial of access to resources required for one's living. Consistent denial of access to resources. This consistent denial is the creation of human beings, you and me. We create poverty. Poverty is created every moment and every day, and each one of us contribute to creation of poverty. Since it is the creation, it cannot be eradicated by anybody else except those who create it. It is the imbalance in our needs and our wants, imbalance in our wants and available resources. Just imagine these two pictures. One is on a diet exercise, another one is dying from lack of food. These are the two paradoxes, the two realities that we witness every day. It is the power of choice, the choice we make, the choice that matters for us. We have number of pairs of shoes, every day different, every program different. But there are people who use plastic water bottles, substitute their slippers or chappals. And that is the place where we think the power of choice that matters. There are sufficient resources available for all on this planet. We don't need to blame population explosion and escape from or justify the choice we make. We want the best of facilities and we work hard for it. And we deserve. But do we realize that our choice is affecting somebody's necessity? If I have 4 pairs of shoes and I see somebody doesn't have even 1 pair, can I justify my choice of 4 pairs of shoes? That is the question that I pose to everybody today. We may think they have not been able to purchase one because we have not made them available to them at their capacity. You see, the purchasing capacity of the rich and poor is different. And the market depends on the purchasing capacity. If I have sufficient capacity to purchase whatever I need, a big TV, a big refrigerator, the air cooler, whatever I want, I have the capacity to purchase. And accordingly, the market value will increase and the poor are more pushed down to poverty because of lack of access to the resources to purchase what they need. We have bought more than what we need, and the price depends on the demand and supply, which makes them not affordable. We have made the choice and left them with no choice. Can we justify our choice? The choice is unconscious, and each time when we make the choice, we deprive someone who doesn't have a choice. We may be thinking the choice which we make is good for us, but at the same time, what choice we make, and that choice has got implications on the poverty of our country. Do you buy your things from Reliance Fresh or DMart? You make the choice to make those vendors on roadside more poor and Ambani more rich. Do we realize that? It is easily available for us in packs in DMarts and Reliance Fresh. It may be not so good looking on the roadside, but we make our choice. And when we make our choice, that person who is doing that vegetable vending on the roadside is affected and becomes more poor. We bargain for 5 rupees with the vendor on the roadside, but we pay whatever fixed in the Reliance Mall. We make a choice. We make a choice because we don't like to bargain there in a big shop and in front of many people. That is the choice we make. But with a vegetable vendor, we can bargain, and vegetable vendor comes down because he has to survive. I stop sharing the screen now. Maybe I have given enough point for reflection. I just want to add one more point, that is what we need to do today. As Father Praveen has already mentioned, we need to take some steps, at least in our environment and our capacity. There are two ways to do any action. One is immediate remedies, and another is long term remedies. The immediate remedies may be giving something to somebody who doesn't have, and which I have more than one or spare. A person who doesn't have shoes, if I have four, if I give one pair, that is also good enough. Those who do not have food, there are so many people who are donating food packages. One meal a day. There is an organization which is working on it. And the long term remedies which are going to last are more important. They are inclusion, cooperation, and collaboration. If the rich and the poor all collaborate together, the corporate and government all collaborate together, if all people help each other, there will be a great success to reduce poverty. Whatever programs the government has implemented, we know it. Manrega is there, Swarna Rojgar Yojana is there, Swarn Jayanti, and there are a lot of programs which are implemented through government. But the poor remain poor. Why? Because there are causes. There is a drifting theory which we call it. When the water comes drifting, it reaches very small quantity to the place where it's supposed to reach. So all of us, I today request, there are people with extreme poverty who do not want to look back to the situation which they suffer. They don't want to build on what they have because they have nothing, but they want to build anew. That is what the choice we need to make today. The imbalance between the resources available and the choices we make is the simple theory or formula that we should adopt to address the issue of poverty. It is true, India today is gone 101 due to pandemic, but that is also an opportunity for us to reflect, where do we stand? How do we contribute in eradicating this evil called poverty? And today, as we celebrate the International Poverty Eradication Day, let us all commit ourselves that we also are part of the program to eradicate poverty and to achieve the goal that is set in SDG, Goal 1 and 2. Thank you so much for this little opportunity, I have presented whatever I could. If there are any clarifications or questions, we could go ahead. Over to Father Praveen.
Yeah, thank you, Lasrado sir. That was a very wonderful presentation of your views based on today's webinar topic, International Day for the Eradication of Poverty. You have very well explained the meaning and definition of poverty. You have given many facts and statistics which helped us to understand the level of poverty that is existing in the world today. And also, you have outlined many prominent causes how this poverty has come into existence. And as per the definition that you have given, you also said that poverty is the consistent denial of resources or denial of whatever is good that we, in a way, give to others. So we being selfish, we make the others more poor than they are actually. And you said that it can be not only resources, but then in every domain, whenever we deny someone, we are making them poor there. Yes, and you have also said what is poverty, where is poverty. You have given those paradoxes with beautiful pictures. The illustrations were quite many and then touching. Towards the end, also, you mentioned about the global hunger index that India slipped to 101st position. Now, that's debatable, as our government is saying that, of course, the methodologies used there are not proper. Whatever be it, just a question that has come surfaced on the chat is that how would you connect hunger with poverty? What is the role they play? Maybe they are correlative terms. Hunger may be leading to poverty or poverty leading to hunger. Maybe we would like to hear your thoughts on that, sir.
Yes, thank you for this question. I was also reflecting on this. Hunger and poverty, are they interrelated? Of course, they are interrelated. But when we take hunger, it is, it's a food. We take food as the main component to, lack of food. Those who do not have sufficient food to fill their stomach are hungry. But when I see hunger also or poverty, I see in many dimensions. There is poverty, economic poverty, there is money, there is poverty, resources, where all natural resources are there. There is poverty of knowledge, there is poverty of opportunity, there is poverty of education. So there are a lot of other things which are. But all of them lead to hunger. If these resources are not available, then you go hungry. Hunger is also, if you look at hunger in different ways, I am hungry for knowledge, I am hungry for something else, I am hungry. But here, we take hunger only as the necessary calories for a person to survive. Isn't it, Father? So it's a
Yes, yes.
necessary calories for survive. So I opened my presentation, understanding poverty, burning 100 calories for earning 50 calories. Those are the poor and those are the hungry. If you burn 100 calories and earn 50 calories and you have to feed 4 of them, that is hunger. And if we don't have sufficient food to give to our children, that is hunger. And, I always criticize people who talk about this. The poor people, they talk to poor people. पैदा करने को आता है, ख्याल रखने को नहीं आता है क्या? Because they cannot feed them, we have denied those resources. I come to that only. And therefore, poverty and hunger both are interrelated.
Yeah. Thank you, Lasrado sir, for that beautiful explanation. I'm sure the participants are happy with the answer. I don't see any other question that has come up, but definitely Dr. Shivakami Rajan has made a mention that the MPI index 2020 for India is 62. That's of course that's the poverty index, as you know, global multidimensional poverty index. So India needs to maybe work a lot. Maybe we all stakeholders, the citizens of our country, have to put our best foot forward in eradicating poverty, eradicating hunger, disease, and all that. Maybe we are ending before time, I guess. If there are one or two interventions, we leave the floor open for any question, any discussion. I think, sir, with your permission, I think I can leave the floor open now for a minute or two if anybody is interested in posing their question or
Y-
get into some kind of discussion. If not, maybe we wind up.
Yes, before that, I would like to just recall that MPI and India has slipped 101, and it is debatable. You said, and India also says the
Sir,
parameters which are
there are two,
used.
two different indices. One is global hunger index, in which
Uh,
India is 101, ranked
yeah,
101st, and the
hunger
other one is
index.
poverty 62nd. Yeah,
Yeah, hunger index I'm talking,
yeah.
the 101.
Yeah.
And it is debatable, you said. Now, maybe it is debatable, it is true. But what makes India to reflect more and criticize the parameters? Because it has slipped below the neighboring countries, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal. And that may be true that it is debatable. It is shame for us that we are below those countries around us who are more poorer than we are. That is the pain that is going on.
Yeah, taken that point. And also maybe how much of wealth that is there with the industrialists in India, maybe. Of course, let's not get into that kind of discussion. Socialism, capitalism, all these are the causes of definitely uh, poverty and answer to it, solution to it. So as I said, the floor is open now. May I request our participants who are here, if you have anything to say, please come forward just for about 30 seconds. I will keep the floor open. Otherwise, we will go ahead with the proposal of vote of thanks. I think it was quite clear on your from your side, and there is nothing much is left. I think for people to discuss or question or raise their concerns about. Yes, anyone? Yeah. Okay. So that brings us to the end of this webinar. It was a Sunday, but still many participants. The Google Meet was always full with 100 people participating, and YouTube link also was shared, and many people attended. And I'm sure that it was beneficial to all of us. It's an eye opener when we say that poverty, hunger exists in the world. It's a big eye opener for all of us because we live in the same world where our other brothers and sisters are suffering, and we may be having 2 or 3 square meals a day, and that makes us maybe a little more privileged than the rest of the lot. But that should not hinder us from working for their betterment, for their safety, for their rights, and for their worthy living. So, on that note, I would like to conclude today's webinar by proposing a vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to thank the management, the principal, Dr. Katie Thomas of St. Francis Desales College, the staff and students, whoever strive to live by the ideals that the college is presenting before them, the ideals of harmony, social brotherhood, and integrity, love, truth, etc. So, as part of that, we arranged this 1 day webinar on International Day for Eradication of Poverty, and it was benefiting all of us. As I said, it has opened our eyes, and we are really thankful to today's resource person, Mr. Peter Lasrado, and his involvement in the social work field has made him to speak with such expertise and with such experience, vast knowledge. Living in the society with these marginalized people can help us to understand their situation better. As it is said, poverty can be understood by a poor person more than anyone else. maybe we have reflected here theoretically, but let's spend some time. Let's take this pledge that we'll go out and maybe, if not today, some other day, will surely reach out to the masses that are struggling, that are poor, with whichever way. It may not be the material resources alone that we should share, but the various other ways in which we can eradicate maybe their degeneration of livelihood, etc. So thank you, Peter Lasrado, sir, and looking forward to seeing you again, maybe in another webinar some other day. And I also like to place on record my indebtedness to all the participants here who have spared their time, precious time on this Sunday morning and have benefited from this webinar. And the feedback link is already shared in your chat box, both in YouTube and Google Meet. Kindly fill the feedback form so that it enables us to work out better way in our next webinar. Yes, so with that we end. Thank you and have a nice Sunday.
Thank you, Father.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you.